TechHub.training. In this video, we'll go over the solution for the monthly challenge called the Cookie Company. Just an overview of this challenge. You're an auditor and you need to ensure that the financial statement provided by the client is correct. So let's jump into it. So you are provided with a few files, those 5 files. First, we'll take a look at the financial statement file. So here's the financial statement, and you see that we have several tabs. If we come to the first tab here, we can see that's the consolidated financial statement. And in the description of this challenge, it's saying that the client consolidated this sheet here, the financial statement, by combining all these financial statements here. And these are financial statements for each individual store. So first, let's look to see what they did here. So let's see for cash and cash equivalents. We can see here that they did a sum across multiple sheets. So what they did here, we can see here store ID 278. So from this sheet all the way to sheet D2 C8. So across all of those sheets, they summed cell C8. And let's see the next one. They did the same thing here, here, here. But anyway, one way we can just check all the formulas in this sheet, we can come here to formulas, and then we can show formulas here. If you're a Mac or if you're a Windows, it may be the location of this button is a little bit different, but all should be under the same formulas tab. So let's just verify here. We can see here that they did the same thing here. They're summing across all of those sheets. They are summing C8, C9, C10. Then they're just doing a sum here to get total current asset correct. Doing the same thing here, and then summing, and then sum those two. Okay, looks right. Then looks like they're doing the same thing here and summing those, and doing the same thing here and here and here, and then just summing those to get the total liabilities and equity. Okay, looks right. Then doing the same thing here to get sales revenue and then cost of goods sold. But then here they looks like they're summing those, but they should subtract cost of goods sold from sales revenue. So that's an error. We'll just take notes so that we can share with the manager later and with the client. But here they do the same thing here, and then summing those. But here we see that it's a hard-coded value. So we want to know why here, because we can see here that they have the numbers here. So we can verify. We need to talk with the manager to see what's going on here. But anyway, doing the same thing here, and another hard-coded value here that we need to check what's happening. But anyway, so just one red flag that I have as of now is right here. We know that they have 278 stores, but they're summing from 278 all the way to D2, so to store ID2, but should be 1. So I'm just concerned maybe they're not adding all, maybe they're missing some sheets, but we'll know for sure soon. Okay, so now we checked here, we see that there's a few errors, but the next step here, let me bring another here. So we are provided with the chart of accounts and with the general ledger. So we can use those to recalculate or reperform the financial statement, the consolidated financial statement. So let's do that right now. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so let me come here. So here I'll show you in 2 ways, doing Excel. This portion of the challenge I will show you in Excel and also in Tableau. But here, let's just see what I did here. Here is what the portion that you were provided in the general ledger. If I can actually just come and show you here. So this is the portion of the general ledger, and the chart of accounts is this one. So we see that we have account name, account subclassification, account classification, category. So let me bring here now this one. So I first did this in Excel so that I can show you both in Excel and Tableau Prep. But if we click here, we know that in the description it says that the 3 first digits is the store ID. We do have store ID 1 and not just starting from 2. But anyway, and the right 3 digits is the account number. So all I did here, just parse those 2. I did a left here, left formula, and I got just the first 3 characters. Now you may ask, you were doing something a little bit different there. Yes, I'm doing a range here. In most formulas, when you want to refer to a cell, you can use a range, and all it would do, for example, here, if I do this range here, we see that it would just bring all of those. So essentially what I'm doing here, I'm just calculating, getting the left 3 digits from this field here for all rows at once. That's something you can do. Anyway, so let's move on. So here I got the store ID by using a left formula. Then here I did the right formula right here. We see here I'm using a range again, so I'm calculating, getting the 4 digits, the right 4 digits from this field here for all rows at once. You could do just one by one as well by doing right, by doing right, and here, then 4, and then dragging down this. Okay, so let's see here. Now you may ask, why are you using int in the beginning here? Another formula. All I'm doing here, I'm converting the output from this formula to an integer. And the reason I'm doing that is so that I can use the XLOOKUP. Because if we see here, so the output of a right or left formula is a string, but let me bring you the other file. But we can see here that those here, they actually are numbers, and you can know when they are numbers or strings. Let me make a string here so that you can see the difference. They will be to the left, not to the right. So we can see here those are numbers. So when we use the XLOOKUP, a lot of times you may get errors if you're trying to use a string as an input and trying to see in a array or range of string or integers. But now that we have those 2 here, we can bring in the account name for each of those. And all I did here, I used the XLOOKUP, and an XLOOKUP formula uses 3 parameters, lookup value. Again, I'm just using a range here. You could do one by one, just drag down the formula. But here, lookup value, okay, look this one, this one, this one, this one. And then we see here that I'm just referring to the sheet in the other workbook. And here, lookup array. And then we have this one, okay, return this one. So essentially, let me just resize this one. Essentially what we are doing here is we are just getting this one here, and we say, okay, look at those values. If you find these values in this column here, A, just bring me this here, B. Okay, so I'm doing that. The same thing for the account name, to the account subclassification, account classification, account category, and then the amount we have here. But just to look nice, I just brought it here. And again, the same thing, I'm just use a range. I'm just essentially doing this here. Okay, so that's what I'm doing, and then I just changed the num formatting to I just changed to currency. Okay, so now that we have these, we have organized. Now we can use this data to reperform the financial statement, to recreate the financial statement, and it is right here. But before that, so we just did this cleanup, we joined the data using Excel. You could also use Tableau Prep, and let me show you. So here's our Tableau Prep. You could have done this in Tableau Prep, and all you'd have to do is just import the data by coming here and Excel and choosing the file that you wanted to import, and it's this here. And if we come here, I just brought this one and dropped it here. Then I came here, and similar to what we did in Excel, I just calculated the store ID and the expense ID from, I need to change this to, no, this one is correct, sorry. Okay, so this one, we can see here that I calculated, I did the same thing that we did in Excel. I just calculated the store ID from the expense ID, and then I did the same thing here, and I got the account number. After we have that, I just did a join, and you can do a join just by coming here, dragging this one here, and dropping on top of whatever portion of it you want to do a join. So here's the chart of accounts, but we see here that I changed something here, and let's see what I changed. I did change the account number to a string. So similar to how we did in Excel, instead of changing one of the fields from a string to an integer, just did the opposite on the other field right here, because both need to match so that the join works. So, and then we have here, I'm just joining by account number, and we can check here just to make sure that we're all included, and we can see here that from the data here, clean one, all of the account numbers was found in the chart of accounts, but except that one account in the chart of accounts was not found in this one, but this is fine because we want to make sure that we bring all the data from this portion here. So now we did the join here, and we can go ahead and just output this one. Output, and then we can come here, we can select where we want to save it. But anyway, I did already save it into this file here, so it's right here. So here's the same thing that we did here in Excel, but now we can recreate the financial statement. So let's see how I did here. So if we come here, I just sum if data, and also accept 3 parameters, the range that you want to look into. So let me just open another field here. Okay, let me go back and fix this error that I did here. Okay, just open another one. So here's what I did. So we have the data here on the left side here, and I just did a sum if here, and it accepts 3 parameters. It's going to column D in this one here, so it's coming here and say, okay, so in this column here, if you find this value here, I want to return the, let's see here, I want to return the amount of this column here, as we see here, column C, and that's what it's doing. And again, you see here that I'm using a range here again, just to do the same thing for all of those rows at once, but we could also have done just for one and drag down this formula here. But just like this one, because it's easier and we know that I did not make any mistake in the calculation. But let's come back here. Now we can come here and we can see all the formulas at once, what I did, but I'm not going to do that right now. But we can see here that this is the recalculated financial statement, and we can see here that we have an issue, because let me bring the one that the client created, and it's right here. We can see that their total assets is this amount, and we got this amount here, so there is about 100 million that's different. And we can come here and we can see here that those numbers that they also hard-coded is significantly different. It's way lower than what they provided, and this one here is also higher here. So we you're a little bit concerned there. And okay, it's probably just because of this error here, because they summed here and here they actually had to subtract. But anyway, now we have these, and before we talk with our manager and with the client, we want to know maybe what they did wrong. So, but one thing that we know here is that here they're not including all the sheets. So maybe that's one error. So we can check to see that in their financial statements, this is a lot of tabs. So it would be hard to go through all of them. It will take some time. We could create a macro to go there and check. We can see here that they have the store ID right here. So one way I'll show in Tableau how to quickly find out which stores we are missing. So we can do that by going to Tableau Prep again. And right here, let's see what error we're getting. Okay, so let me bring this again. Looks like we have a little error there. Let's go to financial statements and let's bring this one here. Let's see, looks like we still have the error. Okay, let's just redo this portion here because I think would be helpful for us. So one thing that you can do with Tableau Prep is, let me bring this one. We don't want to bring this one because we want just to add all of those together. So one thing that you can do, you can bring this one here, and it doesn't matter that it's all like that, because we see here that the field name that we have here is just the top row there that it's using as headers, but because it's not formatted very nicely, let's come back to the financial statements. We can see that it doesn't know what is the headers right here, so it's just bringing the way it is. So, but if we come back here, we can do a wildcard union. But before we do a wildcard union, let me show you something. But we can see here that it's bringing in, so from all of those values here, it's bringing in this here and this here. But let's see here. So we can see here, but we have one that calls store ID, and if we see here, store ID 10, because we brought in the store ID 10. So we can use this to know if all stores are being brought into this file here from the client. Let's see this one. So let's go to Tableau Prep here, and we can do a wildcard union. What it does, you can import files from different folders, from multiple folders, or all the tabs within a file as well. So it's saying here, okay, searching this folder called monthly challenge. It can include subfolders, files include, so matching pattern. Okay, so it's bringing, I just want to look at this file, but you could change this to, for example, if you have multiple files that start with challenge, you could come here and just, let me just copy this before. You could come here and you could just add that, and it would bring all the files that start with that pattern. Okay, so let me come back here to wildcard union. Okay, so now it says include. Okay, so now we just need to give the pattern for which sheets we want to include. So we don't want to include the first one. So we just come here and we do store, and we can just do that here. By doing this, let's see what it would do. We can just click apply and wait. Okay, so we brought all the sheets that start with that pattern. Now we can come here and we could actually, let me just redo from scratch. We can come here and actually, let's see, it did not work. Let's redo it. Okay, so this one, we just want to include the store. Those ones that start with store, we click apply, and now we need to click apply again. Now it brought in all of those sheets right here, and then we can come here and we can just visualize how it's working. So what it did here, just appended all of those sheets into one big sheet. So it is just append, or in Tableau Prep they call union. So we can come here and we can see here the store ID. We want to just see this one, store ID here, keep only, and then we can change this one to a string because the store ID, it's right here, but it's not an integer that we sum together, but it should be unique value, so we can change to a string. Okay, now we can see here, let's see if we can sort it. Okay, looks like the sorting would not work very well, but we can export this. So let's output this, and we just want those two right here, so we can come here and just select those two, right click and keep only, and we can actually change this one here to store ID number. Now we can output this to anywhere we want, so we can come here, just output to this location here, monthly challenge. Okay, unique stores included. Now I can just save here, but it will save here. We need to change from a Tableau data extract to Microsoft Excel, and we can just run the flow. Let's see here. We need a worksheet name, so let's see, store IDs, and we can click recreate here, and then we can run the flow, and it will output this here for us. Okay, it did that, so we can come there now to the file, and we can see that it's here. Let's wait to open. Okay, it just did open. So now we can see here that we have all the stores here. Now we can sort those here. Let's sort all of those in order. Let's do ascending. Let's just change this to integers first. Okay, convert to numbers. Now we can go all the way to the top, and we can sort this, and we can see here that they're missing one. Let's see how many they have here. Looks like here, if we see, they're only including 230. And actually I did this here on the solution file, and if we come here, we can see here, so here's all the stores, and I'm just summing here all of those, counting those. So we know that according to Mr. Doe, they have 278 stores and operations, but in their consolidated financial statements they only have 230, and I did that just by using a counta function, and so it looks like they're missing 48 stores, so that's another reason. So now that we have those, we can go and talk with the manager. So hopefully you like this video, and if you find a better way to find those stores, please go ahead and comment below. Thank you, and have a good day.